Shri Radha Krishnaya Namo Namaha. At first, I offer my humble prayers in the lotus feet of Lord Shri Radha Krishna. I also offer my humble respect to all of you. Today, from Uddhav Gita, the last message of Lord Shri Krishna, we will be listening Chapter 6, where Lord is instructing his dear friend and devotee Uddhav ji about different types of souls like bound and free, characteristic of a saint and a devotee. This is to answer Uddhava's question in last chapter, where he inquired about the various types of souls and how do they live and enjoy, and by what signs can they be distinguished. The holy words are as follows. The Lord said, "The soul is described as bound or free from the point of view of my gunas, but it is not so in reality, and since the gunas are the creation of Maya, there is, in my opinion, neither bondage nor liberation. Grief and infatuation, happiness and misery, as well as taking on a body, are all due to Maya. Just as a dream is a fiction of the mind, so transmigration is also not a reality. Know knowledge and ignorance to be my powers, O Uddhava, which are respectively the cause of liberation and bondage of beings. They are primordial and created by my Maya. O talented one, for the self-same Jiva, who is my part, there is bondage without beginning, owing to ignorance, and liberation through knowledge. Now I am relating to the difference between the bound and the free soul, endowed with opposite qualities and living in the same abode, the body. Two birds which look alike and are friends have casually come and built their nest in a tree. One of these eats the fruit and of that tree, while the other, though not taking any fruit, is greater in strength. That which does not partake of the fruits is wise and knows itself as well as the other, but not so the one that eats the fruit. That which is tied to ignorance is always bound, while that which is full of knowledge is eternally free. The wise one, even though in the body, is not of it, like a man awakened from dream. But the foolish one, even though not in the body, is yet of it, like one seeing a dream. When the organs cognize sense objects, or in other words, gunas perceive guna, he who is wise does not identify himself with such phenomena, being unaffected by them. Living in the body which is under the sway of the resultant of past actions, the foolish one, on account of work done by the organs, becomes bound by identifying himself with them. The wise one, being thus free from attachment, is in such acts as lying, sitting, walking, bathing, seeing, touching, smelling, eating, hearing, etc., is not bound like the other man, because in such cases he is but watching the organs experience the sense object. Even living in the midst of Prakriti, he is unattached like the sky, the sun, and the wind. With his doubts dispelled by a clear vision sharpened by non-attachment, he turns away from multiplicity like an awakened man from his dreams. He, the functions of whose pranas, organs, manas and intellect are free from plans, is indeed free from the attributes of the body, even though he may be in it. He who is not affected when his body, without any ostensible cause, is tortured by the cruel, or at another time somewhat worshipped by anybody, is a wise man. The saint with an even eye to all and free from merits and demerit should not praise or blame anybody who may do or so anything good or evil. The saint should not do or say or think of anything good or evil. Taking pleasure in the self, he should wander in this manner like an idiot. If one versed in the Vedas be not versed also in Brahman, his labor is the only result of his exertions, as in the case of one who maintains a cow that no more calves. My friend, he who maintains a cow that no more gives milk, an unchaste wife, a body under the control of another, a wicked child, wealth not bestowed on deserving people, and speech devoid of references to me, is one who suffers miserably after misery. The wise man, my dear, should not entertain that futile speech in which there is no mention of my sanctifying deeds comprising the origin, maintenance, and dissolution of this universe, or of my births dear to the world, when I incarnate myself at will. Removing the delusion of manifoldness in the Atman, through such discrimination one should cease from activities, holding the purified mind on me, the omnipresent one. If thou art unable to hold the mind steady on the Brahman, then perform all actions without caring for results, giving them up unto me. O Uddhav, listening to, singing, and reflecting on tales about me that are highly conducive to the well-being and purity of the worlds, repeatedly imitating my deeds and lives, having me as their refuge, and pursuing duty, desire, and wealth for my sake, the man of faith attains steadfast devotion for me, the Eternal One. He worships me, attaining devotion for me through association with sages. He indeed easily realizes my state inculcated by the sages. Uddhava said, O thou of surpassing glory, O Lord, what sort of sage dost thou prefer most? What kind of devotion approved by sages is most acceptable to thee? O Lord of men, O Lord of the sphere, O Lord of the universe, say this to me, for I have prostrated myself to thee, am devoted to thee, and have surrendered myself to thee. O Lord, thou art the supreme Brahman, infinite like the sky, the Purusha who is beyond the Prakriti. Thou art incarnated, assuming a separate body of thy own accord. The Lord said, compassionate with enmity to no creature, forbearing with truth as a strength of an unimpeachable mind, same to all, benefactor of all beings, with his intellect unsullied by desires, a master of his organs, mild, pure, without possession, without outward activity, with measured diet, a master of his mind, steady, having me as his refuge, and meditative, ever alert of a balanced mind with fortitude, mastering the sixfold evil, seeking no name, yet giving honor to others, expert, friendly, merciful, and illumined. He who, knowing the merits and demerits of duty and its opposite, gives up all his formal duties, even as sanctioned by me, and worships me, is also the best among sages. Those who, knowing or not knowing how much, what, and of what sort I am worshipped, me with their whole soul given up to me, are in my opinion the best of my devotees. Seeing, touching, worshipping, serving, praising, and saluting my images as well as my devotees, and reciting the glories and deeds of both. Faith in listening to tales about me, O Dhava, meditating on me, offering everything received unto me, and surrendering oneself in service to me. The recounting of my lives and deeds, observance of my special days, festivities in my temples with songs, dance, and instrumental music in company, procession to sacred sites and making offerings of worship on all special days of the year, initiation according to Vedic and scriptural rites, and taking up vows in my honor, eagerness to install my images, and endeavor, either single-handed or jointly, to construct gardens, orchards, playgrounds, compound walls, and temples dedicated to me, taking care of my temples without deceit, like a servant, through sweeping, plastering, watering, and drawing sacred designs. Disregard for fame, absence of haughtiness, and not trumpeting one's good deeds, not using for selfish ends the light of the Lamb offered to me. What is most covetable to people in general, and whatever is especially dear to oneself, should be offered unto me. That offering produces infinite results. The sun, fire, a brahmana, cow, a devotee, this sky, air, water, earth, the body, and all beings, these, O friend, are the objects wherein to worship me. One should worship me in the sun through Vedic hymns, in the fire through oblation of ghee, in the best of brahmanas through hospitality, and in cows with grass, etc., my friend. In the devotee through cordial reception, in the sky of the heart through regular meditation, in the air by looking upon it as prana, in water with things such as water, etc. In the consecrated ground through secret mantras, in the body one should worship the Atman with eatables, etc., and in all beings one should worship me, the Kshetra Jnana, with an evenness of vision. In all these abodes, one should meditate on my benign form with four hands, in which are the conch, disc, mace, and lotus, and should worship it with concentration. He who thus worships me through Ishta and Purta with concentration remembers me, and through the service of sages attains to perfect devotion for me. O Uddhav, there is almost no other efficient way except the Bhakti Yoga, due to the association of sages, for I am the goal of the sages. Now I am going to tell thee this profound secret, even though most confidential, for thou art my servant, companion, and friend. Thus concludes Chapter 6 from Uddhav Gita, the last message of Lord Shri Krishna. Thank you for listening. Shri Radha Krishnaya Namo Namaha.